Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking a truly fascinating, deeply layered text that takes the pop culture icons we all know and love and filters them through a vast, cosmic, and spiritual lens. We're looking at a spiritual interview with the guardian spirit of Stan Lee, one of the greatest creators of modern mythology. It's an exploration of superheroes, but definitely not from the perspective of comic book sales or movie box office numbers. Instead, this source material looks at the spiritual philosophy, the cosmic origins, and the hidden divine purpose behind these characters. It's a wild, incredibly imaginative ride, and we're going to break down exactly what this text claims, step by step.
We are focusing specifically on Chapter 3 of the Laws of the Universe, the Age of Elohim. This chapter is presented as a recorded spiritual interview, a dialogue meant to unpack the cosmic and spiritual philosophy behind the superheroes that absolutely dominate our modern screens. The text frames this as advice given by the guardian spirit of Stan Lee for an animated movie project. Our goal today is to impartially map out the exact ideas presented in this fascinating chapter, looking at how it bridges the gap between comic book pages and esoteric spiritual beliefs.
Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The true essence of a hero. 2. Ordinary people and democracy. 3. Imagination and alien hypotheses. 4. Stan Lee's astonishing past lives. And 5. God's rules for the space age. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the true essence of a hero. What exactly makes a superhero? When you think of superheroes, you probably think of capes, gadgets, and huge action sequences, right? But this text argues that the foundational purpose of a superhero is actually something much more profound. It claims a hero is literally a disguised role of God. The guardian spirit in this interview says that in our modern world, folks often find it incredibly difficult to actually picture God in their minds. We aren't all saints or prophets, you know? So to bridge that gap, heroes were created. The text argues that these characters step in as modern-day gods. Just like a priest or a prophet might deliver teachings in a church, this creator states he delivered divine inspiration and moral teachings through the creative field of movies. By creating characters like Spider-Man or the X-Men, he was essentially building a modern pantheon to give everyday people courage and hope. Moving on to Section 2, Ordinary People and Democracy, and the Origin of American Power. The formula at the heart of this mythology is simple, but it really packs a punch. Take your totally ordinary human being, maybe even someone who feels a bit out of place or less than ordinary, and combine them with a crazy superpower, like the abilities of a spider. When you merge these two completely different things, something magical happens. A new hero is born. But the source material takes this a step further. It argues that this specific narrative, an ordinary person suddenly transforming into a hero, is actually the very source of American power. It claims this transformation is the literal power source of democratic ideals, proving that greatness can emerge from absolutely any everyday citizen. That brings us to Section 3, Imagination and Alien Hypotheses, where we expand out into the cosmos. We're zooming way out now, from the streets of New York City to a much larger cosmic scale. The interview addresses the realities of what it calls the space age, and it makes a really bold philosophical assertion here. God is imagination itself. The guardian spirit explains that because humans are a copy of the divine, the limits of God are exactly equal to the limits of our own imagination. If you can imagine something, it can be realized in the universe. The source gives a pretty great visual example for this. If you can imagine a snake, God can create a snake. But if you stretch your imagination to picture a snake that's 50 meters long, well, you've essentially just created a dragon. Therefore, any wild superpower or alien life form we can conceptualize is well within the realm of cosmic reality. Building on that idea of limitless imagination, the text then tackles the topic of aliens visiting Earth. The guardian spirit lays out 3 distinct, fascinating hypotheses for why extraterrestrials might be here. Step 1. They are the ancient gods of the past, simply returning to quietly watch over the growth of humanity, kind of like parents checking in on their kids. Step 2. There is a greater, almighty God who has laid down strict rules for interacting with Earth, and these alien visitors are just strictly obeying those divine laws. Step 3. The universe is huge and full of differing opinions, but major space leagues have formed with a strong will to actively protect us Earthlings from other hostile space invaders. And the craziest part? The text suggests that all 3 of these theories might actually hold true at the exact same time. Now for Section 4, Stan Lee's astonishing past lives. This is quite the cosmic journey.
Okay, get ready, because we're about to dive into the most surprising and esoteric claims within this entire source material. We are moving from external aliens to the internal cosmic origins of the soul itself. The timeline starts way back in ancient times, claiming the soul actually originates from a place called Planet Stan Lee. During this era, the spirit claims to have served as a conversation partner for the supreme being El Cantare, and, get this, actually claims to have designed the giant panda. He apparently pitched it as the perfect black and white design. Moving forward, the text asserts he was born in ancient Greece as Zeus, the father of gods and heroes, then as the biblical patriarch Abraham. Fast forward to the 16th century, and a branch of this Zeus spirit reincarnated as a part of the legendary playwright William Shakespeare, representing the god of art. Finally, in a huge geographical twist, the text claims that during the creation of the Japanese archipelago, this exact same soul acted as the god of Mount Fuji, a volcano god who helped design Japan. Talk about a sweeping cosmic resume, right? Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, God's Rules for the Space Age, and some actionable philosophy. It is so easy to get lost in the sheer scale of giant pandas, Zeus, Abraham, and space leagues, so let's ground this esoteric journey back into something a bit more practical. What does this all mean for how we should actually live? Well, the Guardian Spirit outlines 4 specific rules of God that both heroes and humanity must protect in this new space age. First, love God and love others. Second, actively seek out spiritual things, so looking beyond just our material world. Third, use your free will to carve out your own destiny, which ties right back to those democratic ideals we talked about earlier. And fourth, bring happiness to others. The text emphasizes that throughout history, through churches and shrines, these teachings have been passed down. And when these rules are broken, bringing chaos and confusion to Earth, that is exactly when a hero has to appear to protect the rules and restore justice. As we wrap up this analysis, this quote brilliantly summarizes the heart of the text's argument. Ryuho Okawa concludes the session by stating that the real heroes aren't necessarily the politicians or the CEOs. Instead, creators are the real God of America. Why? Because through their art, their incredible stories, and their boundless imagination, creators are the ones giving dreams to the people of the future, especially the children. They literally shape the moral and spiritual landscape of the next generation.
So the text leaves us really pondering the profound impact of creativity and mythology on our society. It forces us to ask ourselves, in a world where ordinary folks can tap into such extraordinary ideas, who is shaping your imagination? Who is the true hero that gives dreams to the future for you? Take a second to think about that. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible exploration of the source material today. I hope this explainer helped you see your favorite stories in a whole new cosmic light.